to contribute to the nurses fund in just, I don't know, I think it's a coincidence, in Worcester, Mass. There are 700 nurses who are have been on strike now for over 50 days. They are striking against St. Vincent's Hospital in Worcester, which is, full disclosure, both my sisters were born there. They are striking against a Texas-based corporation called Tenet. And they're basically striking because Tenet was cutting staffing so much that the nurses had genuine concerns about the safety of the people that they were supposed to be taken care of. Yeah. There were 600, if I remember correctly, 600 notices of problems over the last year, over which time Tenet made $400 million in profit. $400 million in profit. The revenue is in the billions. $400 revenue in $400 million in profit. And they just won't hire people. So the nurses have been on strike. Tenet now is claiming that they're hiring scabs. And you can support the St. Vincent's Hospital nurses like Sunset Lake CBD did we put the link in our podcast and YouTube description, but they left them $2,500. Obviously, individuals aren't going to have that kind of money, but if you can help out, they need the help there. And the more dollars that you give the nurses, the more they intimidate Tenet in the same way that Tenet's trying to intimidate these nurses by hiring people and scabs. So check that out. SunsetLakeCBD.com. Don't forget, if you go there, use our coupon code LEFTISBEST, and you get 20% off of any of their products you will enjoy. Also, the CBD embedded coffee. I will say, my boyfriend's a bit of a CBD snob. Tried the tincture. Yes. Wow, this is amazing. Yep. Got a text. Honestly, it is. There are a lot of CBD skeptics out there, and they are. Their skepticism is worthwhile because you need to have. There's a lot of bad products out there. Yes, there are. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Next sponsor. Is one of my favorite companies, Quip. They are, I'm going off the script here, I don't care. The thing, I've spent too much time thinking about Quip because I love their toothbrushes. They have a what is it called? A flosser, a non-disposable flosser. And it is fantastic. It is, honestly, it is one of the most ingenious things I've ever seen because I use a flosser all the time. I've really gotten into dental hygiene because it's super important. And as soon as you get old, you start to realize, like, darn it, I should have started this 30 years ago. Yeah. But, really, probably I should have started earlier, but, as a kid. And they have also now a gum dispenser. Gum is the unsung hero of dental hygiene. If you have a sugarless gum, you chew it 20 minutes after you eat. It helps with cavities. It helps with periodontal issues because you don't want bacteria growing in there, and it starts to screw up your gums. That's the biggie right there, folks. Believe me. And they have developed all of these ways. They're basically a design company that has tackled how do you make people pay more attention to their dental hygiene? How do you make it easier? And the gum is a perfect example of this. It comes in a dispenser that's sort of like Pez. I think I can say that. Yeah. The gum is great. It's crunchy on the outside, the minty on the inside. My kids love that gum even. You can have it with you all the time. And it's very stylish. And put it in your pocket. You don't get lint in your gum anymore. There's all sorts of... it doesn't melt in your pocket. Doesn't melt in your pocket? Yeah. No, it's fantastic. And also, they never promote it. I don't know why, but their flosser is amazing. And the whole thing is great. You sign up, you subscribe, they send you the brush head on a regular 3-month basis, and so you never have to worry anything. It's like a one-stop shop, and it makes it much easier. It's the same thing with the vaccinations, right? They're putting the lottery. You're starting to realize, it's weird things that get in the way of people taking care of themselves. And Quip has figured out a way to design this stuff in such a way that it takes away a lot of the obstacles. So if you go to getquip.com/majority right now, you can get a free plastic dispenser with any refill plan for the gum. That's a free dispenser at getquip.com/majority. getquip.com/majority. Spelled GETQUIP.com/majority. Quip, the good habits company. And lastly, this is actually great. You know, I've talked in the past about different sort of, you buy different services that will send you ingredients to make a meal. One of the problems I've had in the past, some of them I've enjoyed, but they take too long. Welcome HelloFresh. You get fresh, pre-measured ingredients. They got great seasonal recipes. It's delivered right to your door. You skip the trips to the grocery store. You count on HelloFresh to make cooking easy, fun, and affordable, and quick. Relatively quick.
Quick. Gotta be quick.
It is America's #1 meal kit, and that's why, I think, from my perspective. HelloFresh offers 25 recipes to choose from each week. They got vegetarian meals, they got craft burgers, they got extra special gourmet options. There's something for everybody to enjoy. All recipes are designed and tested by professional chefs. They have nutritional experts to ensure the deliciousness and the nutrition and, really, at the end of the day, the simplicity. You can try meals that will be ready in 20 minutes or less. That means, like, you don't have to, like, be an expert chef to dice this stuff in 14 different ways and all these garnishes. Like, you get lightning quick recipes. You provide a good home-cooked meal for your 2 children who can be very difficult at times. So I don't have 45 minutes to prep the meal. I got to be able to do it quick. HelloFresh is 28% cheaper than shopping at your local grocery store, 72% cheaper than a restaurant meal, and you sacrifice no quality. In fact, in my mind, it's home-cooked. You know what's in it. HelloFresh has been named Newsweek's most trusted meal kit company of 2021 with over 4 million households served. You got to check it out, folks. HelloFresh.com/majority12 and use the code majority12 for 12 free meals, including free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/majority12 and code majority12 for 12 free meals, including free shipping. Check it out. As always, we put all of our links in the YouTube and podcast descriptions. All right. Want to welcome back to the program, as we do on many Fridays, the host and proprietor of the Benjamin Dixon Show, Ben Dixon himself. Ben?
There we go.
Whoa.
There you go.
There he is.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Nice to see you, Ben. Thanks for Emma's here, obviously.
Hey, Emma, how are you? Sam, how's it going? Thanks for having me today.
Always a pleasure. All right, so Ben, let's there's some let's talk first about what's going on with Israel and Palestine, particularly from. I want to talk about just the conflict in and of itself, but then I want to slide it into domestic politics because that is, to the extent that we have any influence over it, that is the domestic politics come into it. But from your perspective, what's your just broad take on what we've seen over the past couple of weeks?
Well, first and foremost, the two of you and Emma, you guys have done some amazing coverage this week. I've been able to jump in and catch clips of what you guys have been covering and really appreciate it. And I start with that context because there's a noticeable shift in the conversation, in the discourse right now that I haven't seen in my lifetime. And it's the people honestly being able to connect with the humanity of the Palestinians. And the fact that for so long, there was this seamless conflation between, the Palestinian people and, of late Hamas, which was used as a justification to just dehumanize and to disconnect the humanity of the women and children who have been killed. In these attacks, and just watching the videos, social media has played a huge part in changing the narrative, but being connected to what's happening there almost in real time and seeing the suffering, it really wasn't possible. It wasn't tenable for the media to do what they started off doing. I don't know if you remember at the beginning of this last week, ABC News, NBC, all of them started with the standard talking points of Hamas and this and the terrorist attack and justifying Israel's disproportionate response. And so that has changed significantly. And I think it's about time because as Bernie Sanders said yesterday in his speech, or rather Wednesday in his speech, Palestinian lives matter.
So how much of this conversation do you think has shifted because of, and, I spoke with Dave Zirin of The Nation the other day for the other show we do on Peacock about how Kyrie Irving, the basketball player, spoke out about, Palestinian rights and stuff. And I just feel like there's been a connection between an internationalist, anti-racist perspective that, is, I think, step two of the national awakening, not enough, but that a lot of people had in the wake of the George Floyd murder. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think that's really kind of the next evolution in this.
Yeah, I love the way you frame that, because when you consider the alternative, like the pan reactionary movement, right? They're reactionaries across the globe who are uniting with their desires for ethno states, their own little regional hegemonies where they're able to control and dominate their local politics, domestic politics without any international influence, right? That's happening in real time. And the counterbalance to that is the more of the internationalist perspective, right? Where we see humanity in every person, and not just humanity in the people who look like us or have our same politics or whatever subgroupings these reactionaries default back to. But yeah, I honestly think that, in the wake, things have changed a lot since COVID-19 in general. That shifted the perspective, not only in terms of our international solidarity, but also solidarity around understanding our position, our class positions that changed, but then also the George Floyd protests, the way the world was able to see just how barbaric this system can be, to all people, but specifically black people. There was a catalyst. And then the solidarity with the Palestinian people giving, online, social media, giving techniques on how to survive gas attacks and, different things. It was just, there is a level of solidarity that we have now because of the interconnectivity that exists because of social media, but also in response to the barbarity that we're seeing from people with power.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And I want to go back just to the point you had made about people seeming to have more of a sense of the humanity of Palestinians. I mean, it is amazing to me. And for years, and I'd say over the years, my coverage of at least, while I've been doing this professionally, of the Palestinian Israeli conflict, as it were, has been, more or less the same. It's just there has been very little traction for that.
Oh, yeah.
And it is amazing to me, though, now that what you were saying about with Hamas and the attempt to sort of use Hamas as a way of obscuring the humanity of the Palestinian people. Something when you said that, like the idea that they're still trotting out this thing of Hamas using Palestinians as human shields.
Right.
I don't know exactly what that means in this regard. Gaza's an open air a jail essentially. I don't know where Hamas would be.
Right.
If they're not amongst the people living there. It's not but it's also sort of okay, let's stipulate that that's the case. You still have to deny the humanity of those human shields if you're just going to shoot right through them.
Right.
Let's be honest. You're going to have to, if you're really holding Hamas to some standard that they are, ruthless, and okay, let's just stipulate for the sake of argument they are, but they're still human shields. Right. They're not shields, right? To hear that now sounds just much worse to my ears than it did maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah, and actually I want to start where you started, right? The coverage that you've given consistently. Mark Lamont Hill lost his job on CNN as a result of his advocating on behalf of the Palestinian people. I mean, it was honestly the thing that you just couldn't talk about in a lot of circles. In fact, I don't know if you guys have gotten any flack, but I got so much flack even just retweeting stuff in support of the Palestinian people, and which told me I had to get certain people, I had to take a look at my phone, my Rolodex, and see why they're in there in the first place. But to what you're saying, here's the other aspect of it. Like, with all their precision targeting and